Hi, and welcome to Field Trips at the Library. Today we are going to the Barbour County Historical Museum, and we're going to learn about some really unique things they have there. Let's go on a field trip! Barbour County Historical Museum showcases the history and culture of Barbour County, West Virginia, from farming, mining, homemaking, the Civil War, the Philippi Covered Bridge, and mummies. Yes, mummies. Let's find out what's inside. A mummy is a dead human or an animal whose soft tissue and organs have been preserved by either intentional or accidental exposure to chemicals, extreme cold, very low humidity, or lack of air. The difference between a mummy and a skeleton is that the mummy still has some of its soft tissue such as hair, muscle, or skin. Ancient Egyptians were some of the first to utilize the mummification process. Egyptians mummified many different kinds of animals including cats, rams, hawks, crocodiles, mice, rats, lizards, and even eggs. Mummies are not just from Egypt, they come from around the world and have been found on every continent. Today, we're at the Barbour County Historical Museum, and I'd like to introduce someone to you. Go ahead and tell them what your name is and what you do here.
All right, hi everyone, I'm Marissa Tooliger. I'm the AmeriCorps member serving here at the Barbour County Historical Museum.
There's a lot of things in the museum, but one of the most unique things is probably the mummies in the museum. Can you tell us a little bit about the mummies?
Yes, I can tell you about the mummies. They are incredibly unique. Their story starts in the 1880s with a local man named Graham Hamrick. He was a farmer and a shopkeeper and had a very interesting hobby. He started experimenting with fruits and vegetables, trying to come up with a better way to preserve human bodies. Now, you might ask yourself, why is he trying to preserve human bodies? Hamrick was living at a time where American death culture and death practices were going through a huge shift. Before the Civil War, most people would die in or near their homes. It would be their families that prepared their bodies for burial. During the Civil War, though, embalming became increasingly common and popular. So after the Civil War, Hamrick was one of several people experimenting with different body preservation techniques as they were shifting from death being something of the home and in the home to the professionalized industry that it is today. So they were trying to make embalming cheaper, faster, more efficient, and safer for the embalmer. Yeah.
So the mummies have quite a history, though. Can you tell us a little bit how they came to the museum?
Yes, so in 1889 or so, Hamrick asked for permission to do a human body experiment. He went to a local judge, said, hey, can I do this? The local judge said, go ahead. He then went to a place called the Trans-Allegheny Asylum for the Insane over in Weston. Now, two pieces of historical context I think are important for this would be, one, this was a time in which asylums were not places that actually helped people with their struggles with mental illness or mental health, so much as holding places for people who are considered inconvenient to their families or to society at large. This was also unfortunately a time in which it was considered okay to scientifically experiment on people if they were certain kinds of people. People of color, women, poor people, physically and mentally disabled people were all especially vulnerable to this kind of abuse. So Hamrick went to the asylum and he purchased these two women's bodies after their natural deaths within the asylum. The woman over this side, she was in her 40s when she died of tuberculosis, which was a very common lung disease at the time. The woman over here was in her 20s when she died giving birth.
Okay. So how exactly did the museum end up with them?
They have a very storied history. After Hamrick mummified them, their history gets a bit more murky in a lot of ways. They traveled Europe with the Barnum and Bailey Circus at one point. They were kept in various barns and sheds throughout town. In the flood of '85, they were somewhere, I'm not 100% sure where, and they were damaged during the flood. After they were repaired and dried out by a local mortician, it was decided that they are brought here to the museum where they can be shown to the public and also help raise money for a local scholarship fund, the museum, and the public library.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Marissa. This is a really interesting place. If you would like to visit the Barbour County Museum, they can come to Philippi, West Virginia. Would you like to add anything else about the museum?
Yes, we are open Fridays and Saturdays 11 to 4, Sundays 1 to 4. But if you are free on a different day or you want to make a special trip up here, feel free to message the Barbour County Historical Museum's Facebook or Instagram and make a special appointment to come and see us. We hope to see you soon.
Bye. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us again on another adventure with Field Trips with the Library. I hope you enjoyed our trip to Philippi, West Virginia, and you too can visit the Barbour County Historical Museum. We hope to see you real soon. Happy Halloween!